Well, hello there. Hopefully you guys can hear me okay. I haven't set volume levels or anything, so if this is too loud, please let me know. Also, my allergies are killing me right now, so I might be a little soft because of that. Anyway, so I have a completely new setup for live streaming. I've dumped Windows 10. I do have a VM running under Linux Mint now. Don't have anything running in Windows. Just got it there in case I need it for some reason. But I got OBS set up. I've got a KVM set up with QEMU so I can emulate stuff. I've got Orca Slicer running. I've got GIMP and some other tools, LibreOffice, things like that. So far I think I'm going to be okay switching to Linux full time for my daily driver. I just got to a point where I said I don't want to mess with Windows 11. And I use it at work. There's nothing inherently wrong with it. But I used to use Linux as my daily driver 20 years ago. And I've just been thinking about doing it again. So now I bit the bullet this last weekend. And the only Windows machine that I have at all is this VM that I'm running. So, hey, Mark, welcome. I noticed that you subscribed. Thank you. Appreciate that. Learning about HyperCard as fast as you can. Yeah, there's a lot to learn, and there's some great content out there. Let me know if there's anything I can help you with. I can point you in the direction of, there's some, great resources out there. And, yeah. I do focus on programming quite a bit in HyperCard, so yeah, it's kind of my thing. Hey, Trina. So who else do we have in the chat? So we've got Jack68K and Trina and Sloopy. Hey, Sloopy. And Mr. Garth Beagle and Mark Volkman. Cool. Thanks for joining. I know there's other content tonight. I think Mike's Mess is doing some stuff with VCF East things that he got. And, I picked Wednesday night because I know that Justin usually does Tuesdays and Thursdays. And I just wanted to do something during the week instead of 9 o'clock on Saturday morning. This Saturday I won't be live streaming. I'm going to a local computer club event. It's the Southeastern Michigan Vintage Computer Club. And they meet quarterly, and they're having a swap meet in Waterford, in the Detroit area. So if you're in the area, please come. It's from 11 to 5, I believe. And you can find it, details on the socials. I posted something on both Blue Sky and Mastodon. Great group of guys and gals, and there's lots to see there. I'll have a table set up for adventure, and I'll show off some of my beige. And so anyway. Trina is going to be doing a live stream 6 p.m. tomorrow for soldering. Go ahead and drop a link in there, Trina, if you got one. Anyway, so it's April. Marcintosh is over. Although we keep Marcintosh in our heart year-round. It is April, and April is for apples. So the Apple II line, or family, if you will. And I do have a few. I got an Apple IIe at VCF Midwest a few years ago. And I've got that. I also got an Apple IIGS thanks to FrodoJedi, who made me a great deal on it. And he's a good friend to all vintage people. Oh, Mike's just finishing up. Good. And I've got some enhancements in that. I've got I forget the name of it, but there's a card in there that's a drive solution, so it's got a hard drive. And I haven't turned it on in probably a year. So now that Adventure, at least the test version is done, I'm going to spend some time in April on HyperCard on the Apple IIGS. Go to stack. My first stack, yeah. This does not open stack. Sometimes the default pathway for where it finds things is not set properly. And there is a thing in the setup. If you go into the home stack and travel to you keep going through the cards, you'll eventually hit the settings stack. And in there you can give it the path for things. Or you could just go open the stack without having to go and just open it directly. Anyway, so what have I got set up here? Another thing that I did, I do not have a video adapter solution for the 2GS. I've got an A2 DVI that I have for the Apple II. I need to buy something for the 2GS, but as an interim solution, Joe from Joe's Computer Museum threw together a cable for me that would convert it from the 15-pin output to VGA. So I've got that connector. It's not quite right on the colors, but it's close enough, and it gives you a clear signal. So instead of capturing the composite output, that's what we're doing. I also tried pointing a camera at the monitor I have for the 2GS, and that was not optimal. So we're going to go with the slightly color goofy version of the video. So let's switch screens. I have not set up my tablet for my macro setup for controlling screens, so I have to do it manually. And I apologize. That means that I've got to flip things around here a little. Okay, so here is my Apple IIGS setup. So it's pretty sharp, clear picture. In fact, I'd say the Elgato capture screen going through my what is this? An RGB HDMI 300 actually captures better than I thought it would. So this cable works pretty well. This is a copy of the OS that I got from Gutbomb, actually. So he was kind enough to send me a working one so I could get it together. Yeah, video output on the 2GS is weird. I agree. Thanks for joining, Mike. I have never really messed with it, HyperCard on the 2GS. It's like a version 1.5 of HyperCard, and I've always used 2.4. Or, yeah, 2.4. So it's going to be a learning experience for me. They tried to squeeze as much as they could into 1.5 megs of RAM, so it's a little slower. But it's not terrible. So we're going to fire it up here. I'm not going to be on very late tonight because it's been a long frickin' day. I have not looked at my 401k. I don't want to know to give you an idea. Mike, what? I have yet to get my Blue SCSI to boot GSOS completely. Yeah, I forgot what I'm using. It's some card that takes an SD card, but I can't remember what it's called. Anyway, it's not a Blue SCSI. What does 1.5 versus 2.4 versions mean? Good question. I don't really recall, but I do know, I think, you don't have the interactive debugger. There's some commands and things. Which SCSI card do you have? Oh, you're asking Mike. Yeah. Good, because I don't know what I got. I can't remember anyway. I can figure it out and find out. But anyway, so there's some language limitations and stuff. I'm not really familiar with the differences. I suppose I'll find out when I try to do things. But there's this app that was bundled with it called Shoebox that does home management and things like that. Joe's got the pinout for the cable he threw together. It's just swapping pins around, and then put it through the RGB HDMI capture box. So works well enough. Okay. So what we're gonna do, I'm gonna work through one of the documents that you can get. This is the let's see if I can scroll up to the top. Starting from scratch. Huh. I want to go to the first page. Why won't you let me go to the first page? Enter. Okay, here we go. Getting started with HyperCard 2GS. It's an Apple manual tutorial thing that Apple released. For some reason this is acting up. What was it? 126? Is that the page? Yeah, starting from scratch. So there's an example they have built in. And I thought I would just walk through doing this. You know, HyperCard, actually, they have a really good... Let me see if I can get this to work, where I can go to the... Go back to the first page. So, you know, a lot of people think that HyperCard was really... Apple was very confused about... What the heck is HyperCard, and why would you want it, and what does it do? Because, you know, they called it an erector set, software erector set. They had a bunch of other ways of describing it. But if you go to the introduction, here's your very sad people, and the one curious and excited person that is, because he has HyperCard now, so... And he's heard you can do almost anything. So what is HyperCard? Most software is inspired by something outside the computer world. For instance, painting programs were inspired by the artist tools, and word processors were inspired by the typewriter. But what about HyperCard? Let's go to the next page. HyperCard can do what index cards do. So they thought of it as like an indexing system. This thing you see here that looks like a fan, older people like myself would recognize this as a Rolodex. And this was a way of flipping through your contacts with physical media. And you would write information on each card, and you would store them alphabetically. So you young hipster kids out there wouldn't know what that is. But anyway, HyperCard was a way of creating stacks of information in cards. So they go on to explain, this is the metaphor, and this is how it works, and this is the kind of thing you can do with HyperCard. So if we go back to this example, we're going to create an application from scratch. And it's going to be a friends database. So it's like a Rolodex. And you could have information. So they caution you that, if you want to create professional looking stacks, you should design them carefully. You may want to read Apple's HyperCard Stack Design Guidelines, published by Addison Wesley. I'd like to get a copy of that book, or those books. I think it's one book. Anyway, it's stupid expensive and hard to find. So I think there was one on eBay and they wanted like $200 for it. So I haven't got it yet. Mike's Mess. I would think the OS version would read Mac stacks. There is a tool for converting them. And there's a guy. I don't have the reference handy, but there is a gentleman out there who's been converting stacks like the template stacks and things like that for the Mac over to 2GS and making them work. So, and cleaning them up and doing things like that. So that's a good resource if you want to get into the 2GS stacks. I wonder if I can find the web page for that. I'll look it up and put it in the link in the video description. Excuse me. But anyway, so, a lot of people would storyboard, we would call it, where you sketch out on paper what you want your stack to look like. There are CSS tools that people use for laying out pages where you would just mock up a page for a web page or an app or something. And that got very sophisticated. You're able to... I never switched over to the... I'm sorry. I meant to switch over to this book. Here I have been talking about it and you guys haven't seen it. Anyway, what was I saying? That you can storyboard and you can do a bunch of stuff to prototype. And back in the day, we would do it on paper with pencil and just kind of sketch, or a whiteboard, sketch out your ideas. How are the conversions between Mac stacks and GS stacks, or is it? There's a tool that you can use that's supposed to be able to convert them. Do you recommend this book? I don't know. Complete HyperCard 2.2 Handbook, 4th edition. Danny Goodman has some really great stuff. Unfortunately, my reference books are upstairs with my other computer, but he's got the Complete HyperCard 2.2 Handbook is very good. There's the what's the title? Some of his other books. There's a HyperCard. I call it. It's like an encyclopedia. It's over 1,000 pages long. There's also another reference I use a lot is arranged as like a encyclopedia with each command is got its own section. It's alphabetical, and I can't remember the title of that either. So I apologize. I should have those. But reach out to me, Mark. I'm on Mastodon, and I'll have it in the outro. I'll have stuff where you can contact me. You can also go to my webpage, ericsedge.com, ericsedgegames at gmail.com. You can reach me through that email address if you want to. My HyperCard stack game that is available is a demo version right now. That is called Adventure, the Quack of Dawn. And there's a web page for that called Quack of Dawn. So if you want to, check those things out, I don't have a link to it on the web page, but I can get you a link to the demo game, and it's both. It requires a Power PC to run natively because it's pretty heavy. It's got 6 stacks in it for the game. But I do provide a Linux and Windows mini VMAC version that you can download and run on either Linux or Windows. Sorry I don't have an OS X one. So that it's an emulated version that you can run. So you can try out the demo. All right, so let's get to this book. Starting from scratch, designing the stack. So we're gonna skip this step. We're not gonna design the stack. We're just gonna build it. So you got to start a new stack. So let me switch screens again. All right, so you've got to create a new stack. So you can go up to File, New Stack. I'm going to give it a name, and let's call it Friends. Oh, and I'm using the wrong keyboard. We're going to call it friends. And we're just going to go ahead and create it. It defaults to the same place HyperCard is. So we'll just create it there. And we wait. Like I said, this 2GS doesn't have a huge amount of memory in it. And it's not a really speedy processor. So it does take some time for it to run. Okay, and that's a blank stack. There's absolutely nothing on it. It's completely empty. So, one of the first things I suggest doing is that you want some background art on it. The version of the book that I use from Donnie Goodman's not available as a PDF. So you're probably looking at the one that is. It's still a good book, but it's not as good as the one that you can that you have to buy. You can find used copies of it on eBay. I think I bought mine for like $10. So I'll get the titles for you though. So anyway, you want some art or something in the background, and there's an art ideas stack that you can get some ready-made art for your stack from. So we're going to go home. So we're going to go home. And this is your home card stack that we were on when we created it. And we're going to hit the toolkit button. Where is the toolkit button? You know, this version might not come with the toolkit. It's got a help stack. Okay. So I don't know if I've got any art on this machine. We're just going to wing it and create our own. So we can go back to our stack. Now it's going to take me back to the prior card, not to the stack. So what you can do is go recent, and it gives you a visual indication of the places that you have been. And this card here is our empty one. So we're going to go there. So we're back to our stack. Let's use the spray can, and let's make a background. Come on, you can do it. Friends. It's a little slow. Gee, I almost ran out of space there. Okay. Friends, there's our background. Right? You'll find that a lot of people learned how to do HyperCard when they were in elementary school because they had access to computers to do this. I found HyperCard when I was in college. It was the last year I was in college, and I had access to some, I think it was a Mac Plus. I'm going to clean this up a little bit. Okay. There. Looks more like an F and less like a P. Anyway, so in college, I had access to a lab full of Macs. I worked for the department that maintained the labs and stuff, so I had free run of the lab whenever I wanted it. And that's where I discovered HyperCard. And I was really very nerding out with it and loved it and all that. And then when I graduated from school, I couldn't afford, I think the SE had just come out, and the 2. And I couldn't afford to get a computer. I couldn't afford a DOS compatible computer at the time. I think it was several years before I could even buy a computer. although I was a programmer and I was working as one. So the only access I had to computer after college was at work. And then, of course, I worked in the Microsoft stack, so I spent all of my time doing that. First computer was an 8088 with, I think I managed to get myself a 10 megabyte hard drive to go with it, so it was very advanced. And a Hercules graphics card. Sorry, I got to plug in my phone. It's running out of juice here. So, anyway, it wasn't until, in the early 2000s, I helped somebody. It would have been 2010, around then. I helped somebody set up a printer, and her ex-husband had left his old Mac Plus computer with discs and things behind, and she said, well, for helping me, you want that computer? And I'm like, yes. So I got a Mac Plus, and the only thing I did was use some of the discs that were there, and messed around with it a little bit. He didn't have HyperCard, so I couldn't do that. And then years later, I finally got to a point where I'm like, hey, I can afford to buy these old machines, fix them up, and use them. And I got back into it again. So anyway, we got our friends stack. We've got we've got art on here. It's not on the background though. So I want this on the background. Or do we want it for a splash screen? Let's just leave it on the front as a flash screen. So what else are we going to do? So what's the next page here tell us we need to do? Choose a background. Okay, I got a background. Blah, blah, blah. They're telling you how to copy a picture and all that to do it. And copy and paste it. And of course this would all be very fancy stuff, but we've got our really low-tech one. So now let's add a home button to this, because a lot of times when you're using a stack, you want to use the home stack as sort of your way of getting into HyperCard and doing things. So you might want to go home. So you could always do go home from here, but another thing you can do is you could add your own button. So we're going to add a button, and command and drag. It should draw a button. Wow. I don't know if it's slow to respond. There it is. Yeah, it was just slow. So Marks asks, one thing I haven't figured out is how to use more than one background in the same stack. You can do that. You just type new background, or you hit new background, and it'll create a new background. You do that before you create the card, because it creates a new background with a card. There are ways and Danny Goodman explains how to do it, where you can, if you forget to do it and you've got the same background and you want to save that card, there's a way that you can delete or copy that card and then repaste it in with a new background, but it's really a pain. So anyway, this is one way of doing it. So we're going to create a button here for home. Yeah, there's some idiosyncrasies about how you use HyperCard. Needs a transwarp GS. Yeah, it is slow, isn't it, Jack? So we're going to create a button. We're going to call it home. Type on the right keyboard. One of the things that I think is a limitation, and I'd like to see, the button name is also the label. So if you show the name, you've got to name the button the way you want it labeled. I'm used to giving button names programmatic names, or what a programmer would use for something, and then having a label that's shown. HyperCard doesn't do it that way. So we're going to select an icon. Da, 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 da. Obviously, we're not going to get very far through this. It's already 9:30. Usually there is a house or something like that that represents home. We're going to pick this lovely little 2-story job. We're going to auto-highlight this button, and I'll show you what that does. We're going to leave it transparent. You could make it rectangular or give it a shadow or a round rectangle like a traditional button. You've also got checkboxes and radio buttons, but we're just going to leave it transparent. This is something you don't get in HyperCard on a Mac, that you can mess with the colors. Not going to do that, so we're just going to leave it. Hit OK. Now we have, see, it's outlined here because we're using the button tool. We switch back to the hand. Now we got a button. You click on it, nothing happens, because that button doesn't know what action you want. There are ways to create buttons in HyperCard where you don't have to learn how to do any scripting, and it'll automatically program the button to go home for you. I never used those tools. I always did the scripting. So we're going to go ahead and do that. I'm going to go back to the button tool. You know, being a programmer, this is what I'm used to doing. So, okay. And can you guess, HyperTalk, the language that's used for HyperCard, is supposed to be an English-like syntax. They were all about making it, they thought it would make it easier for people to learn how to program if it was more like English. Yeah, what are these colors you speak of? I agree, Sloopy. So they tried to do things that would be intuitive. Unfortunately, they missed the mark in some things, and there's some odd things, and I have to look them up all the time because I can't remember how to do it exactly the way. But this one actually works. Type on the right thing, Eric. Go home. This actually works, or it should work. Now, normally, if you've got a name for a card or a stack that has spaces in it, you would have to put quotes around it. If it's a single word like this, you can get away with leaving the quotes off. So we're going to see if this works. We're going to just try doing... Oh, wait a minute. I'm sorry. You have to wrap your code in an event. Script. So an event is something that occurs and you capture it with your script. So on, mouse, up. So when someone presses the mouse, and mouse up. When someone presses the mouse and they release it, that's a mouse up event. There's a message handler, this, and it'll say on mouse up from this button, go home. Alright, so let's see if it works. Go back to tools. Come on, you can do it. You get your browser, that's what this tool is. It's the browser, it's the hand. You can peel off your tools. I'm not going to do that though. It's kind of annoying. No, I'm still using the mouse or the button tool. We'll click on it. It's thinking, it's thinking, it's thinking. It's still thinking. It's still figuring out what the heck did he do. He clicked, okay, I got to send an event to the stack. It goes to the top of the stack first for the stack code, and then it cascades down through the message handler to the card, and then it gets the button, and then executes the code in the button, and goes home. And if we go back, you went back again. Okay, so now we have a home button. And we're going to position this a little bit because it doesn't need to be there. Typically you stick these in the corner somewhere. So you've actually got a friend stack that takes you home. Isn't that useful? Let's add something else to it. All right. It's a stack of cards. This is the first card. It's the only card right now. We really want to have multiple cards for this app. So we're going to have buttons that take you from this card to the next card or back to the card before it. And so we're going to create some more buttons. So I'm going to hold the Command key down so I get the plus cursor. I'm going to drag a button. We're going to go into it. We're going to call it back. And again, type on the right keyboard. I'm going to show the name. I'm going to auto highlight it so when you press on it, it inverts the color. And we're going to set an icon. And we'll see if the old-timey hand pointer thing is available. Oh, they don't have the old-timey hand things. Okay, but they do have arrows. We'll pick a nice fat arrow. Okay, and script. Hello, computer. On, mouse, up. And it indents for you. I wish this editor would do things like code completion. And I believe there was a gentleman that wrote an external command that modified the editor, because there is a way you can replace the editor in HyperCard that did code completion. So if you did on mouse up, it would automatically add end mouse up and then reposition your cursor on a blank line in between, you know, just like this. I've never found it. I've only heard about it. I don't know if I can find the source code to it, but one of my on my bucket list is writing an editor replacement so that you can do code completion. Go back and mouse up. Okay. We had OK. So now we have a back button. And I'm going to command copy paste. And that created a duplicate of the back button. And we're going to change it to next. And we're going to change the icon. And use the next. And then we're going to change our script. This is something that a lot of the templates would give you. It's already, you know, a template would already have all this navigation and everything built. Is this like HyperTalk that's found on the typical program, or is my ignorance showing? No, this is very simple HyperTalk that you would find on this kind of a stack. You keep it simple, and so this is very typical. Now, you could get fancy. Let's say you wanted this to appear on every card. This should really be in the background. It shouldn't be on the top of the card, because if you create a new card, you're going to not have these buttons on here. So we're going to fix that, because I have a tendency to forget. It's like, oh, I'm in the wrong Z order here. I need to... unfortunately, you can't like select multiple items. You can only select one at a time. You can Command X to cut it. You can go to the background. You can paste it. Hello, computer. There it is. We can go off the background. So there's a card layer and a background layer. We're going to cut this. You see the back button's there because it's actually on the background and it's a transparent layer. So it really exists there. And the next card or button does too now. And I'm a little anal retentive, so I gotta make these line up. There are tools that you can get to in the home stack of the normal, Mac version, where it's got alignment tools that'll help you align buttons, group buttons, and things like that. I've never actually used them because I don't know, I'm lazy. So we're gonna use this time. I'll use the menu. I'm gonna cut this button. I'm gonna go to the background. I'm gonna paste the button. Okay, we're gonna go back to the front. Okay, so now it looks like I didn't really do anything but this is on the background layer. So if I do a new card now, it'll have these buttons on it. So let's do that. Let's do new card. There you go. Same background for that card. If I did, let's try this. If I do delete card placement, go. Where is new background? Oh, yeah, here it is. New background. Okay, there's a third card now. So if you go to Objects, Card Info, you can see it takes you into the background editor. This is card number 3 out of 3. So new background creates a new card with a new background. And we don't really need it, so we're going to delete this card. Okay, went back to our first card. So if you look at Objects again, Card Info, we're on card 1 out of 2 because I deleted that third card. So we're going to call this our splash. Typing in the keyboard, wrong keyboard. Splash. This is like the introductory splash thing for card for the game. Not game. Sorry, I've been doing so much game programming, I don't think of anything else. Alright, so we've got something that'll take us, let's go to the tools, let's go to the browser, let's try next. Takes us to the next card. Let's try back. Takes us to the card previous. So previous would probably be a better thing than back, but we're just going to leave it that way. Alright, so now we've got basic navigation for our little stack here. I'm going to go look and see what they suggest in the book. So those were background fields. They go all about changing the text of them and stuff. I left labels on them. You can go without labels, but anyway. So now we need to put a field of some kind on our card. So let's go back to our design. 126, enter, and then alright, transition. So we've got like a title on here or something and some graphic. There's a line that separates, and here's the name and notes about things in your navigation. So think about what elements are repeated on the cards. So let's go back to and think about our design. So we've got a splash screen, right? We don't really want this background on the next card. So we really do want a card that's got a different background. So let's do new background. Well, actually, we don't even have to do that because this friends thing on the front here, that's on the front of the card. It's not on the background, so we don't have to worry about it. It's completely fine on this one. All right, so let's just go at our fields. And this is one of the reasons why you want to think about this and lay it out. Hey, see you later, Trina. You want to think about what you're doing and kind of figure it out and sketch it out first, because you don't want to have to like redo it from scratch. So we're going to throw a field on here. And but this is going to be, we want this to be repeated on every screen, right? So we don't want that here. We need to work on the background. Cut field. I want to edit the background. Okay, we'll just do a little bit here, and then we'll call it a night. So I need a field on the background. Okay, and we're going to call it, we'll just give it a name, and we'll call it title. We don't want to lock the text yet. Let's just leave it transparent. We need to set a font. Shaston. Let's go with Venice. Let's make it fancy. Okay. So now we got this field, and it's transparent. So if we go back to the front, so we're off the background, we still have our tool for fields, but if you go back to the browser, it disappears. But you do have the I-beam cursor, so you can see where it is. Friends. And I'm typing on the current keyboard. And you notice the problem. This is not big enough to handle our text. So we're going to do that. The other thing we're going to do is we're going to lock this text so that nobody can mess with it. So if we go back to our browser, it's just a background thing. Now, you could just use the graphic tools, and you could use this, and you could type on here. Keep doing that. And you could do a graphic for, you know, a label for it. But the problem with that is that, what if it's not positioned right? What if you want to change the font size? What if you want to move it around? It's better just to use a text box for it. All right. So we got our little thing here. We can go, if we go next, we go back to the first one. You notice it's not there because we've got a different background card. So it's kind of what we wanted. So we're going to make another text box. And this is going to be your name. And I'm... Okay, what font do we want to use? Well, let's just use the default. Well, 8's kind of small. 16's a little big. What else do we got? Geneva. Let's use 12. Hit OK. Tools. Browser button. Now you can't see this field. That makes it kind of difficult to use. Oh, use the right tool. Fields. So we actually want to change this. We don't want it to be transparent. Let's make it a rectangle. Let's make it a shadow. There. And I can type in it right away. I don't have to wait. So Supreme Dark Galactic Overlord. Okay. He's a friend of yours and mine. Let's add another field. Oh, you know what? We're not working in the background again. Darn it. We want this on every card. Cut. Background. Paste. Tools. Cursor. We're not on the background, so when you switch tools, now I lost what I typed in there because you have to hold down, I think, the Option key when you copy, if you want to copy the contents. Supreme Dark Galactic Overlord. Supreme Dark Galactic Overlord. Okay. There's a story behind that, by the way. I won't bore you with it right now. Okay, we got maybe 5 minutes left here, so let's do one more field. Let's get to the background where we need to be. And we're just gonna make a nice little field. And we're going to make this field scrolling. And you can put a line, what are we going to call it? Information. And we'll leave it the default font. Okay. So if we go off the background there and back to the browser, the SDGOL is your friend and mine. You can add other things. You could add a picture element in here so that you could have a picture of the Supreme Dark Galactic Overlord. There's a bunch of stuff you could do. So let's just go with that. So, right. So if you go to the next card here. Yeah, let's see, we were messing around with the same background. Darn it. That's not what I wanted to do. Shoot. I thought we had a separate background for this card. And it, so do you have to go to the background object to see background info? It's shared by 2 cards. Shoot, I thought I did new background. I must have deleted that card. Wasn't thinking. Well, gee whiz. Well, you get the idea. Anyway. So, but here's the thing. How do you add a new card then? Because this just takes you to that front card. So you could just use the menu, and I could say Edit, New Card. And I could say Eric, and if I typed on the right keyboard, Eric thinks he is a HyperCard master. So I am certainly not. And if you go back, yeah, see, we got a problem here with it because I don't have things set up the correct way for the backgrounds and stuff, but something we can solve another time. I think there's an attribute you have to set. Oh, I keep messing around with the next button. Stop it. It's slow, Eric. Wait for it to come back. Okay. Tools. When a stack uses more than one background, how can you change the background used by an existing card? You just change... Oh, yeah. You mean to a different background? You have to go through a copy-paste thing. It's a pain in the butt. There might be tools to do it. I'm not sure. I actually don't use different backgrounds very often. Most of the stacks I do are games, and they have very few cards in them, actually. I do it mostly with programming. There are techniques where you want to use many cards, and your program actually switches between them. So I think you have to recreate the card and then copy the stuff from it to another. There might be a trick around it, and I seem to vaguely remember there is a trick to swapping the background, but I don't recall what it was. So might have something to do with copying and pasting the card, but I'm not sure. Anyway, so shared text. That's what we want on this. Hit OK. Tools. Of course, I locked that, so now I've got to unlock it. Because I can't edit it, because you lose the text when you make it shared. And then you've got to flip back to the browser. Now I can say friends, and I'm using the wrong keyboard. Okay. All right. Now we want to go back to this tool. Setting the tab order is also a royal pain too. Thanks for the stream, Eric. Jump to another stream. Hey, thanks for joining, and you know, there'll be more. So I'm glad you joined. I hope I see you again. Have a good night. 10 o'clock. Yeah, I'm going to wrap it up here. So let's lock this text. Let's hit OK. Let's go back to the mouse tool. OK. If it does what I think it does, yes, it retains the text between the screens, between the cards. So there, we got a basic, really simple one. You can add a new card anytime you want. There's ways you can do sorting of the cards and things like that, so you could add things. You could add a button that would say new and it would create a new card for you. You could make the next button make a new card if you're at the end of the stack. There's lots of ways you could do it. But anyway, that's it in doing it on a 2GS. It's very similar to normal HyperCard that I'm used to using, but it is more limited. But you do have color. So, all right. So let's wrap it up. As you guys know, many of you know, I'm working on an adventure game for HyperCard. There is a demo release of it. If you would like... Oh, yeah, I got to show you this. Let me switch back to the other screen. Webcam transition. All right. So I made a comment about this on my prior stream, and I said for as little as $1, if you guys contribute to my coffee or Patreon or whatever, I will give you support credit in the game. So you'll be listed with all the other people who have contributed towards Adventure as a contributor to the game as a supporter. And all it takes is a single dollar. So if you want to go to my coffee and contribute, any amount is helpful. My plans are, I've got the demo written. I'm working on the full-blown game. I'm currently writing the editor manual, because there is an editor for the game, so you can create your own games. And with the you get a digital copy. If you download the digital copy when it's eventually released, it'll have a game manual, a editor manual, and the game, and you can get it emulated, or you can download a SIT file that's got the whole thing and run it on your Power PC. If you want, for VCF Midwest in September, I intend to have boxed games for sale. And that will be a physical printed copy of the manual, spiral bound so you can lay it flat. Game manuals should be able to lie flat. Otherwise, you don't want to hold it open with your hands. You're too busy playing a game. It'll have the game manual and the editor manual. It will not have physical discs for the game, because that would be 50 discs. It's a rather large game with lots of media files in it, because there's sound effects and things. So, but there'll be a reference to download it, so you can download the game. It'll have a folded up printed map that goes with the game in the box. There will be other goodies in it. I will do a limited run of the box sets, and I'll sign them. And they'll be for sale. I haven't set the price yet or anything like that. It's not going to be stupid expensive, but I do want them to be kind of a collectible. I mean, who doesn't love having a physical manual that you open up and can look at and use? So there's that. As far as the digital assets for downloading, I think I'm just going to make them for free. I might do them on itch.io or something like that for a small amount, like $1 or something. But honestly, it's a labor of love. I've spent 3 years working on it. There's no way I'm recouping the cost of doing it. So, so the box set will probably be the only thing I sell. But the digital assets and stuff will not be available for download until after I do the sale of the box set at BCF. So, so Billgoats sent me a nice letter after I had asked, did the pitch for money, and he sent me $1 printed on a piece of paper. So, and he asked me in the letter, he says, does this count? And I said, damn yeah, this counts. So he's getting credit. He already got credit in the game anyway for contributing, but this gets him extra special credit in the game. So I thought that was fun. Oh, he also sent me some stickers. So this is his, what are they? Live, Laugh, Local Talk. Sorry. Nice shiny stickers. So anyway. All right, that's the sales pitch. So if you want to contribute, do. No obligation, obviously. You can also become a subscriber and contribute monthly if you want to, but you don't have to. I'm going to, because it's now after 10, I'm going to play the outro, and it's got some cool music on it. It also has links to my socials and things like that if you guys want more. So have a good evening, and happy April apples. More to come. And where did I put the button for the outro?